We are live at Studio B. This is your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. I am Spencer Linton alongside Austin Cauley. Joining us now to discuss the BYU football offense, specifically the running backs, is former running back standout Brian McDonald on the show. Brian, welcome back to BYUSN.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
It's never fun to discuss numbers, especially when they don't bode well or shine brightly upon what a program is or what a program did. But we kind of had to do that last segment to discuss where BYU football is, offensively speaking, going into year 2 of the Big 12. And it's 118th in total offense, Brian. The run game never really got going. BYU didn't score a ton of points. So let's just start with this all-encompassing question. How in the world do you fix it, my friend? Where does it begin for BYU next year?
It begins up front with the line. The line needs to play better. You have the backs to be able to run the ball. LJ is a special kid. I remember I was there at a few practices last year, and they were doing their running back drills. Most of the running backs were going about maybe 5 yards after where the drill was supposed to end, but LJ was taking it 20, 30 yards down and was really kind of setting the example even before he was even named the starter. So he's special. Hopefully Miles will be able to show those flashes that he does in practice actually in the games. And then with Hinckley back, I think they have a pretty good, solid backfield. But if the line can't, open up holes for him, it's all going to be for naught.
Ryan, real quick, touching on LJ, right? Because I agree with you. The kid's a special kid, right? As a true freshman coming in, only 6 months prior running against run around on high school defenses. What do you think is his biggest strength, and what do you think is the main thing that he needs to improve this next year to really take that next jump?
Yeah, I think he just needs to be a little bit more patient in regards to letting the play develop. I saw some of that in spring this year and towards the end of the year last year. So just really working on his patience. I'm excited to see him in the system in year 2 because I think Aaron's going to do a great job in regards to getting him the ball, not just handing it off, but out of the backfield and really using him just like they did Jamal. He was able to put on more weight, but still be able to maintain his speed and probably got a little bit faster. So it's going to be exciting to see him in year 2. But once again, if the line can't hold up and can't open up holes, then we're going to be in for the same thing we saw last year. They just need to play with more of an edge on the line. They need, back when I played, we had Jason Sukanik and Teague Whiting, who had that edge and nastiness, I think, that is needed for a great offensive line.
Talk to me about the psyche real quick of a running back. When you got an offensive line that may be a little iffy or questionable, what does that do to your psyche as a running back?
Oh, you're just rushing. You're just trying to get any hole. You're not being patient. You're just rushing and not letting the play develop because you don't have confidence in your line. And so hopefully as the line's another year into the system and being a little bit more cohesive, playing together, that confidence LJ will be able to grow and to have with the offensive line.
Brian McDonald is with us on BYU Sports Nation. You played with a true dual threat quarterback in Brandon Doman, and now BYU has either Jake Retzlaff or Gary Bohannon. There is very much a quarterback battle brewing at BYU, but whoever is the starter and whoever's playing, and I expect both will probably play meaningful snaps this season. That's the way college football is now. But how much of a difference will that make for BYU's offense, knowing that you're preparing for it and going into the season with a dual threat quarterback instead of a pocket passer like Keaton Slovis was?
Oh, you have to. I mean, and especially in Aaron's offense, you have to respect the run of the quarterback. I mean, I think when Keaton was in there, hadn't had any rushing touchdowns, and then he starts, breaking off these long runs at BYU. And so in this offense, you have to have a dual threat quarterback. The quarterback has to play a role in the run game. And as the defense is not just keen on the running backs, that they have to respect the quarterback. It opens up the field and opens up the holes even more.
Brian, I want to add this, and you bring up the offensive line. TJ Woods takes over as the offensive line coach for the Cougars. And anytime there's a regime change, like, people like a change of pace. You know, it's kind of like you've been eating the same type of M&Ms for a long time, and then a new flavor comes in. You're like, oh, I like these caramel M&Ms. These are really good. You know, like,
great analogy.
Just variety, right?
Yeah.
But how much of a difference can an offensive line coach really make in 1 year, other than just being a change of pace and a different flavor?
He can make a major change. Sometimes it's just a different voice. I mean, Austin May probably sees that with his kids. He can be telling his kids, you know, how to execute a particular play, and not necessarily listening to him, but another coach comes in and says the exact same thing that Austin just told them, and then all of a sudden the light bulb comes on. And so you're like sitting there thinking, like, I just told you that exact same thing. And so I think, you know, Coach Woods can have a major impact on the offensive line. I mean, he has a proven track record wherever he's gone in regards to building a strong, competitive, and nasty offensive line unit.
Yeah, I think you're 100% spot on, Brian. Right? Like, I think with coaches, what makes a great coach, I think every coach has you know, the level of knowledge when you've been in the game for quite some time. You know, there's not much disparity, but the way that it is conveyed and taught is really where, you know, the proof of in the pudding is for or how good a coach is, right? What type of level a coach is able to coach at, right? So moving on to conference talk, right? We're in the Big 12 now. Last year was our first year. We saw a lot of great competition. We got a couple players moving out. We got a handful of players moving into the conference, one of them being Utah, okay? Are you glad to see Utah, BYU rivalry back in play?
Oh, yeah. I mean, who's not excited for to be able to, a BYU fan, to be able to play Utah again and have that rivalry kind of reignite. The only person that I can think of is maybe my buddy Corey Hickman, who lives out in Montana. His wife's a Utah fan, and he's a diehard BYU fan. And so, you know, that week leading up to the game is a house divided. And so he may be the only one that might not be too happy about Utah coming back into the conference.
Brian McDonald is with us on BYU Sports Nation. Now, you have an interesting perspective in your years at BYU. You kind of saw what BYU did in 2000. Lavelle's last miracle was 6-6, and, you know, no bowl game for 6 wins back then. I kind of wish that would be the case now, but there are so many bowl games. Conversation for another day. But then in 2001, BYU takes a leap. New head coach, but that same core came back, and you and Brandon Doman were very much at the heart of that, Brian. So what was the difference for BYU football going from 2000 to 2001 and taking that leap that all BYU fans are kind of hoping the Cougars will do this year?
Yeah, I think the leap was really a change in voice, and then also putting the ball in your playmakers' hands. And I feel like that's definitely one thing that A-Rod does well, that he gets the ball in his playmakers' hands. And so I expect to see the ball in LJ's hands a lot, Cody's hands, Chase Roberts, that, you know, he's going to be able to, you know, to do his part in regards to having that explosive offense again. And I'm confident that the offensive line will play better. There's only one way. They can only go up from where we were at last year. And so I think we'll be in for a good year and hopefully be able to make a bowl game, because, you know, not going to a bowl game it's not fun and makes for definitely a long off season.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot then. What are your expectations, realistic expectations, for the BYU football program next year?
Bowl game. Yeah, bowl game is really kind of my expectation for us next year. I mean, it's a tough schedule. Second game in, you're playing SMU, who's is a high-powered offense, has, you know, done some great things in transfer portal, and definitely has the money in the NIL to be able to get some players. And so, like, we're not going to have a cakewalk schedule. We're going to have to, you know, we're going to be in every game. Our defense, I love what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball. They're very intentional in regards to the people that they're bringing into the program, that know the system, that are a good fit. And so I'm excited for that, for the defense to really lead out the team this year. It's definitely going to be on that defensive side of the ball.
Let's go. Brian, it's always great to catch up with you. Always an inspiration when you come on the show. We appreciate your example, everything you mean to BYU, and how you continue to rep the Y. Thanks for the time, man.
No problem. Thanks, you guys. And Jaron better watch out. I think Austin might be coming for his spot.
We have put Jerem on notice, and we're doing it again right now,
bro.
Brian.
I'm telling you.
Right.
That is right.
Keep it up, man.
Checks in the mail, buddy.
Take care, brother.